the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes, here back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kaiyodo Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, Hawks. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the sexy packaging. Now for the sexy packaging, it's nothing we haven't already seen before. You've got the colorful box for the My Hero figure, and that's exactly what I love. You've got some reds, some pinks, some purples, some yellows, all kinds of colors on this guy. You got Hawks right here drinking his little soda, or actually I think that says coffee. It does say Figure Complex right here, Amazing Yamaguchi, powered by Revoltech, series number 29. Hawks, you got the figure looking really nice in there in my opinion. Some people did say that they weren't liking the look of the eyes, but we'll see once we get to that. At the top right there, you have an image of Hawks looking really nice with the same information. Got another image of him right there along the back. A couple images along the side, kind of like silhouette images. We've got him posed up right here along this side, looking really nice. There he is right here, hitting an actual pose from the anime, so that's really dope. And then, of course, on the back, you've got the figure all posed up once again, all the accessories, and then you've got some stuff that I can't read because I imported this figure. Now let's stop wasting time and bust this guy out of the package because I am really excited for this one. Now straight out of the package, we have the number 2 hero himself, Hawks. And I gotta be honest, man, I've heard people say that this is the best figure from the My Hero line. I've heard some people say that it's close, it's up there. Some people have been unable to decide. But for the most part, I've heard plenty of people say that this is one of the best, and I have to agree. Now, is it perfect? Definitely not. It has a few flaws that I will discuss as we get into the depth of the video. But overall, man, this is a nice looking piece and a great addition to the My Hero line. So far, I'm really loving it, especially from the sculpt work, the detail, and all of that. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at all of that so we can break it down a bit. Now, the number one complaint I've seen about this figure is the eyes, and I gotta be honest, man, they do look a little weird, but Hawks does have some pretty interesting designs for his eyes in the series as it is. They're not inaccurate by any means. I don't know, man. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but maybe it's just one of those things that doesn't really translate very well to figure form, especially when you do what Revoltech does and you try to make the eyes interchangeable. Maybe that's what the issue is. Maybe if they were just painted on, they would look a little bit better. But I mean, it's not bad. It's not like they're just hideous, in my opinion. They're not the best, but they're far from horrible. So I'm fine with this. The sculpt work of the hair is really nice. I love all the detailing and line work that they've got going in there. The little 5 o'clock shadow or mustache, whatever you want to call it, beard, not mustache, looks really nice. The paint work on him is very, very clean. I'm loving the blacks and yellows. For most of the outfit, as you guys can see, it is molded in this brown color with the white painted on for the fur of the jacket. And it looks good, man. And I love that you can kind of move this around, but I feel like they probably should have just left that how it is. I don't think that was necessary. But the good thing is you can continue to line it up. Sculpt work and everything on this figure looks very nice. Again, paint is very, very clean all the way through from head to toe. The boots are sculpted very nicely. He looks a bit short, but I don't think that Hawks is a very tall character anyway, so it works out. But the jacket, as you guys can see, is also kind of split right here at the back. It's not something you can just attach, but it's not a very far split. But overall, it looks nice. One thing that they did that's pretty interesting to me was added these shoulder plates right here. These things do pop off. I'll tell you guys right now. I was trying to take it off and it popped off. But yeah, so when you're articulating this, be careful with that. Because of the fact that if you drop this, man, I dropped this thing on my carpet and it took me forever to find it, and it really slowed down me getting to this review. But it doesn't hinder very much. You're just gonna have to do a lot of rotation, which I'll discuss that once I get into the articulation. But overall, solid looking piece in my opinion. I think it looks really good. I like this a lot. The best, I don't know, man. Endeavor is really good. I don't think this guy's going to beat Endeavor, but we'll see by the end of this review. Anyway, let's go ahead and put him back and see how tall he stands. Now, to the top of his head, Hawks stands right at about 5.5 inches to the top of his tallest hair, which I think that makes sense. Again, I don't believe he's a very tall character. I'll have to look at some references, but still, it looks really good. And of course, I will be showing some size comparisons a little bit later in the review. Moving on to the articulation, he doesn't really look up too much. That's about as much as you're going to get, but then that is kind of pushing out the neck. There's not much you can do because of the jacket here. So yeah, looking up, you can do it, but it's just not going to be the best. Some of his flight poses might look a little bit awkward just depending on how you have him angled. He looks down until the chin touches the chest, so that looks good. Does get really good tilt, but again, this collar is going to be the biggest hindrance, and there's not really much you can do about that because it is attached to the chest piece. And then when you move around too much, this is what's going to happen. This joint right here is going to come out. And yes, I did that on purpose for you guys to see. Arms with the shoulder pads go up and out about that much, so he can hit a T-pose, no problem. But if you take this off, they actually go up all the way as they're supposed to. He doesn't really get any butterfly joints, but you can bring those arms in very far. He does have a swivel. The elbows are where this figure suffers the most because, for one, all the rotation in these and the way it's sculpted kind of just throws this off, man, because the bend, like, I'm going to actually do it on the right arm because the left is probably twisted. You can only bend it about that much. So those poses where you want to get the hands behind his head are going to be a little bit tough. Again, this one right here, there it is. Let's see. You can do it, but sometimes with this shoulder piece right here, it is going to cause a problem. If you take that off, it'll look fine, but then you're left with a huge gap, which is normal when it comes to these Revoltech figures. We're used to the gaps, mostly under the arms though, not on top. I don't know. I don't really like that new decision. I honestly wish they would have just sculpted the jacket all the way up to the shoulder and then just given us what we're used to with that weird gap under here. I think that would have just worked out a little bit better, but whatever. Anyway, the diaphragm joint works very well. As you guys can see, he can hit those diving poses. He doesn't really lean back much because of the jacket. Even if you flip this out, he's just not going to look back much. So that is a bit of a bummer. But other than that, he can move all around at the diaphragm. Of course, he can turn at the waist. He can bend down even further with the waist. So that is dope. You can get him in some really dynamic poses, maybe some flying in poses if you want to, whatever you want to do. Of course, you got to put the wings on first, but yeah. Anyway, I missed the hands. The hands are on this long hinge here, and you can move those around just fine with almost no hindrance whatsoever. Now, be careful because this peg will kind of slide out of here, but I'm glad that they're using this one, honestly, because the one I had with Todoroki kept splitting, so this is like a softer peg, so that helps with changing the hands and things like that. So I think they did a good job. Again, we've got these flaps right here where the belt is located, which is weird. I still don't know what these are for. They seem to be on every figure. I don't know why they don't just sculpt those. It's not a bad thing, but when you're posing it around, you just got to remember to pull them down because they can look weird. But they are sitting on a ball peg, which it works fine. As far as the legs go, he can kick all the way up. So if you want to get him kicking and hitting me in the face, that's no problem. The splits he can do, but you really have to kind of work with the legs. So you got to rotate this inner thigh piece and then you get him to kick out. So yeah, kicking poses are definitely possible with a little bit of work. Some weird engineering, but this is Revoltech we're talking about. Now, as far as the thighs, he does have a thigh swivel. But again, with that weird engineering, you've got to rotate everything properly so that nothing's popping off. I'm going to have to fix this, but whatever. So, yeah, just be wary of that. Actually, I just fixed it. So, yeah, there you go. Thigh swivel is fine. The knees, thankfully, they don't have that big, huge piece hanging off of it. This knee actually looks good and gets really good range. Not the best. It's not SHF or Figma quality, but I mean, it works well for Revoltech. At the foot right here, you do get a little bit of movement. Actually, that's right here above the ankle. You get some rotation up there right at the start of the boot. Foot goes down about that much, up about that much. Really good ankle rocker. And then he does have a toe hinge. So for the most part, articulation is pretty on par with what we normally get from Revoltech. A few differences. The main thing I don't like is this shoulder piece. It's just not the best. And I feel like it hinders the articulation more than helps. So hopefully this isn't a design that they continue to go with in the future. So for the accessories, you actually get a ton with this guy, and I'm going to go over them in two separate sections because there is a lot to cover. Now, first off, you get several sets of interchangeable eyes, which I don't like this whole feature right here. Honestly, I wish they would just paint them on. As you can see, the coffee is in there as well. For the people who are wondering if he actually came with that, he comes with an interchangeable hair plate. This is the one for when he does have the goggles or glasses on for when he's flying, so nothing's hitting him in the face. He does come with a pair of separate glasses that he can hold as well. He comes with two different face plates, one where he's looking a little bit more serious and then one where he's kind of smiling. Unfortunately, no attack face plate, which I think is a complete missed opportunity considering the fact what they did with Endeavor. Now, in terms of hands, he comes with a pair of fist hands, comes with a pair of gripping hands. He comes with a pair of thumbs up hands, a lot to cover. He comes with a pair of pointing or finger gun hands. He comes with a pair of like palming or greeting hands. He comes with a pair of hands that you can actually slip into his pockets, which these are really cool. If you saw my review of Mikey, then you know what these are. He comes with a hand for holding his coffee. He comes with a hand for holding, I'm assuming, maybe his glasses. I'm not entirely sure, but it is a holding hand, definitely. Then he comes with a reaching hand also. Now, in terms of his wings, the first set you get is this little baby set right here, which these are funny. I love these. These are for when he's out of his feathers, but it's cool that they included these. That's a great idea. And then he comes with a pair of sword feathers, which these are dope, but I feel like this is a very fragile plastic, so be careful with these. Anyway, moving on to the next set. Now, for the last set of accessories, he comes with his wings, of course, and as you guys can see, these are on hinges. They're actually three separate pieces. So you have this one right here. You have one in the back, which is pretty much used to hide the gap, which this one's on a ball peg. You just kind of peg it right into here. And that's what it's used for. It's used to hide the gap for whenever you're spreading out the wings. And then you have the third piece, which is the larger piece right here. And these are cool, man. But again, they feel like a very, very fragile plastic. I'm telling y'all, this right here, the wrong fall and these will break. So be careful. This is that type of plastic. Now, in terms of wing effects, you have this one that actually is very unique and pretty cool. You have when he's shooting out his feathers and you just attach these to the back. So you can use these for whenever he's attacking or whatever. I really like how it fades from this red to like this translucent plastic back to red, and you can tell that it's feathers, even though they're not sculpted. This is moving very fast, so obviously there's no reason to put a ton of detail in there. But just like the wings, very, very fragile, so be careful, these will break. Now, last but not least, this is the accessory I will probably not use, but this is another one for when he is shooting out his feathers. I don't know why I put them beside him, like the focus was right there. But yeah, you have these feather shooting plastic effects. This is, I feel like it was unnecessary, but it is still cool that they threw them in. I mean, on a DTOF shelf or display shelf, they'll probably look fine, but again, I will never, ever use these. They're going back in the box. Now, once you put the wings on this guy, that's what does it for me, man. This is what gives me that Hawks that I am used to, that really dope look, that badass Hawks #2 hero. I like this a lot once you get the wings on this guy, and they look really good. Now, I took that middle piece off, so if you see me spread the wings out and it's not there, that's why. But the wingspan is also really good on these, man. These things can really spread out and look dope, man. That it kind of makes him more intimidating. And actually, I'm going to try to put those pieces back on so you guys can see how sick this looks, man. I like this a lot. more than I thought I was going to like it, actually. Let me see. Here's this other one right here, just so you guys can see it. And then they pop on very easily. And then there you go, man. You got Hawks getting ready for full attack mode. I think that is sick, man. Revoltech did a great job on this. Again, I don't like how hollow the plastic for the wings are, but it looks good, man. I really, really like this a lot. Now, moving on to some size comparisons. Here he is standing next to some of the Figma My Hero Academia figures. We have him standing next to Deku, who he's only a tad bit taller than. We have him standing next to Ochako, who was the star of Season 6 most recent episode. Go check that out if you haven't already. And last but not least, here he is standing next to Kirishima, who's actually taller than him. Now, if that's accurate, I have no idea. You tell me. Actually, I'm going to try to look. But yeah, I feel like he's a tad bit on the smaller side, especially when you're comparing this to like a Figma. Because Figmas usually run smaller than just about any other import line. Now, in case you were thinking about getting your mix-up on, here he is standing next to a couple of McFarlane figures. We have him standing next to the tall emo boy Shigaraki. We have him standing next to Mirio Togata, who is best boy. And then we have him standing next to Aizawa. Obviously, he doesn't fit anywhere in scale with these guys. So that mix-up is not going to happen. Here he is standing next to a Marvel Legends Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, a Dragon Ball Z SH Figuarts from Dragon Ball Super CGI. It's Goku, of course. And then we have the Buzzmod Demon Slayer or Kimetsu no Yaiba Akaza. Now, last but not least, here he is standing next to the entire Revoltech gang. We've got him standing next to Deku, All Might, Todoroki, Endeavor, and Bakugo. He looks very good next to these guys. Obviously, it's the same line, so they're going to look very well together. But I do think he's a tad bit too small. Again, I'm not entirely sure on that. You guys can tell me in the comments. But from the looks of it, even Deku's a little bit taller than him. So I don't know, man. I don't think that's accurate. Maybe I'll look for some pictures or something. But yeah, if you guys know, feel free to let me know in the comments. So it's no secret that Revoltech has been popping off with all of their My Hero releases. We've gotten everything that's been released so far, and then we've already got Kirishima and Aizawa announced. So it looks like the future of this line is still promising. I'm really hoping that we can get a Froppy at one point. Yaozu, the Queen, Mountain Lady, I would love her. And then we still have other characters like Kaminari, who I think would make a very good figure. You've got villains, you've got Shigaraki, Dabi, so many characters, man. The My Hero Academia universe is very vast. I would love to get Lady Nagant. I think that Revoltech would kill that, but I know that'll definitely be some time, but I doubt it's even going to happen. Of course, we still have characters like Stain, Muscular, another one I don't see coming, maybe Stain, but definitely not Muscular. Either way, lots of characters for them to choose from. Now, this figure here is solid. Is it the best? Definitely not. I think Endeavor is still better than this one, mostly because of the choices that they made. For one, he comes with several different attacking faces. Hawks comes with none. The posability on Endeavor is a little bit better. I think it works more for him when he's in fighting poses. Hawks not being able to move his neck around doesn't really work very well for me. I wish they could have worked around that. And then the shoulder pads, I don't like that either, honestly. I wish they would have just sculpted all the way up to the shoulders, like I said earlier. I think that would have made the articulation a little bit more fluid to where you don't have to take off these puzzle pieces in order to achieve the articulation that you're going for. It stops the figure from looking stiff, and it just makes it look more dynamic. But overall, still a very good figure. Totally worth adding to your collection. Now, I know some people were saying they didn't like the eyes because they looked derpy. That's up to you. Honestly, I think they look fine. I think they look worse with the glasses on than when they are off. That's a personal opinion. That's entirely up to you. But still, he's solid, man. Definitely worth the pickup. He's a very enjoyable figure. I've taken a couple of shots of it and I really enjoy it. Just remember, be careful because these wings are hollow. That's probably my main gripe. If this figure takes a shelf dive with the wings on, you better hope that it lands on the front part of the figure and not the wings, because the wings are going to break. That I can tell you. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. This review has gone on longer than I wanted to. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps me out. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content. And last but not least, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe wherever you are, and bye.